Wheels spinning, and we're live. So, Kevin Gary, Brisbane Small Business Show. Today, I've got with me Neil Munro. Neil Munro is a international business coach, mentor. What do you call yourself? Extraordinaire. What do you call yourself now?
International playboy, maybe, Kevin. So just leading from that. So, business advisor, helping businesses through growth and business turnarounds, and done it in quite a few countries now.
That's it. I'm going to send a copy of this to your wife too. With that, so awesome. So yeah, you've helped businesses right around the world. Some were already really successful, and you've helped them develop more successful sales and marketing strategies, and help them redefine their business. From our discussions, from the UK over in the Middle East, even Asia,
around Europe, so mainly Western Europe rather than Eastern. Yeah,
that's it. Raise the Asian side of the whole equation. So Neil does a lot of work with his business partner, Ray Armitage, who comes from a banking background. Neil comes from a sales and marketing background. So combining, they attack things from very different perspectives, which is really, really easy, really, really interesting. I've enjoyed having a number of discussions with you. And what I always like about it is the fact that coming at different things from different angles, and it's really evident to see the different thought processes of yourself and Ray at work.
Yeah, yes, thank you. The big thing for me is whatever way I work with a business or whatever way I work with a client in any shape or form is to keep it in easy terms. It's very easy to fall into management speak, and consultants do it constantly. I've done it constantly in the past. People want simplicity, and the simplicity of advice, framework, coaching, whatever it is, to help get them results.
It is, and I'm really excited now that Scomo has finally announced the fact that we're going to be allowed to, actually one day interact with human beings again. I'm so excited about that. I can't contain myself. But it's been a really interesting path to get where we are, but we're only really at the start of the journey out.
Yeah, so Scomo's got his very well thought through process, which been marketed as stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, which is simple.
I know, that must have taken a bit of marketing genius, I reckon. Scotty from marketing, that must have taken all of his marketing skill to come up with those names.
Oh, absolutely. But there's a good, strong methodology below that people can see. Okay, we can compartmentalize, let me get my words right there, that stage 1 equals this, stage 2 equals this, stage 3 equals this. It leads me on to what we do, Ray and I, and yourself, Kevin, and in the business world is stage 1, we keep it very simple. So determine. Let's call this the first D of the 3 stages. Determine where you are financially, determine where you want to go, determine what's getting in the way. And this can be very simple from, sometimes you can overcomplicate and say, let's look at your balance sheet and your P&L and your management accounts. Sometimes it's very simple of just opening your bank statement and looking through that line by line. Okay, do I need this? Is this adding value to my business?
Let's not get into the details just yet, because each of the phases that you're going to talk about, so you've got 3 different phases, and let's just jump in. Let's tell them what the 3 phases are, because I kind of like to do that. Let's tell them where we're going, because the reality is that each of the phases then has components within it, and we won't go right into the detail of the components, but we'll give people a little bit of an insight today, because it's a really cool strategy and methodology to help people be more focused. We've got a download or a checklist that people can have after the show. If they want to just go through, people can do it themselves. They can get some support. It depends on where they're at and what they're looking for. If they're after a bit of accountability, then we can help out with that too. So the 3 phases. That was a long way of getting to the 3 phases. But the 3 phases, one was determination or determine, yeah? And even determined takes a bit of determination, because this is the stuff that so often gets missed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very easy to have a vision of an end goal, or I want to be this, I want to be that. But the determination, it's a great word because it plays to a lot of things there. It's determination about where you're going and where you are now. It's determination within on how your mindset is and how you enforce the disciplines and habits that are going to serve you best as you grow yourself and grow your business.
And as you said earlier, it's a determination of exactly where you're at. So it's really about getting specifically clear about what you want to achieve. Now, it doesn't have to be, and through our discussions, this doesn't have to be hey, I'm going to do a 5-year plan type stuff here. This can be, hey, I want to know what the next 100 days looks like, or I want to know what the next 12 months look like, or I want to know, and just putting a stake in the ground to do that.
Yeah, and just being very open about this, and blank sheet of paper. What are you dissatisfied with at the moment? That's a good opening question. So what's annoying you about the situation or your business, and what's your vision? And being very sort of clear about that. My colleague Ray, he had a conversation with a butcher this morning who had a very determined mindset about him, and he's articulated what he's determined to do. Right, okay, that gives you a good starting point to how you're going to work your business and the values and the strategies you adopt accordingly.
And that's a really cool point too. Knowing exactly what you want as a long-term outcome will actually change the process or change what's important to you as you're going along. I was speaking to someone recently who, we knew what they long-term, they didn't want to take over the world. They weren't trying to get a team of 25 people or 1,000 people to take over the world. What they wanted to do was to create a business that could support their family, so that they loved what they did. They were an artisan ultimately, and they loved what they did, and they wanted to create a business that they could just scale down over time as they moved into more of a retirement lifestyle and out of a income production lifestyle. Okay, so obviously goal one was to produce it, but the point is, how you're going to advise them is going to be very different from how you're going to advise a butcher who wants to take over the world.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm a great believer in strengths-based and values-based leadership. So if you're strong in a certain aspect, or you've got a strong sense of values, or your personality is geared a certain way, and we're all individuals, hone in on that and then build your business and your mindset around this, and you've got much better chance of success, rather than I'm speaking to someone a couple of days ago who's doing a load of cold calling for a business. It doesn't suit her personality, and she's becoming incredibly frustrated. A tiny example, but play to your strengths.
I think 95% of people would be more than frustrated. I think frustrated would be a very polite way of putting that.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a huge amount of value of just being reflective, taking a little bit of time. And, there's lots of tools out there, lots of tools I can provide, you can provide, Ray, whatever. But spending a bit of time doing that determination phase, and that will give you much more clarity, and dare I say it, give you more energy as you move forward, because you're going to be doing something that's more aligned to what you're about.
Absolutely, and I love that word, clarity. So once we've determined exactly where we are, where we're going, what's the next phase? Phase 2. I think Scomo would call this step 2.
Yeah,
but you've got a sexier name than that.
Oh, we've got even more. Well, it's a great word. It begins with D as well, and it's just about design. And I mean, look, this is like building a house. I mean, stage 1, determine foundations, architecture, plans, and so on. Design is, okay, right, what does this look like? What does my working week look like? What does the relationships I've got around me in terms of suppliers, customers, partners, whatever? what disciplines do I put in place to make sure that I'm building something that goes towards my overall vision.
Fantastic. And with that design that you're talking about, it's really about setting in all the formwork and framework around things so that they support. It's actually building the infrastructure. That, I guess that would be the right word for it. So it's building the infrastructure that's going to support the structure that you're building.
Yeah, my wife's always she's always got those TV programs, the grand designs, house redesign, all this sort of stuff, and there's a lot of metaphors we can draw from that. That before you go crashing in and put your first brick on the ground, where are you going with this? And if you to build your vision. And then the framework almost takes care of itself to a certain extent, with a few tools and a few disciplines built around that as well. But don't go putting your shovel in the ground without knowing where you're going.
And it is about learning with those things. And as you say, know where you go before you put a shovel in the ground. Because I was watching one of those recently, and it was a guy in the UK. Sounded a bit like you, but. He had a really clear vision of what he wanted to achieve, but what he didn't do is he didn't build the right, or he didn't plan the right infrastructure before he went and do it. So he ran out of resources, or he ran out of cash. And so he had this building that you could see in the end was going to be a modern castle, nothing short of it. It was going to be truly magnificent. It was overlooking the coastline, I think, of Scotland. So it was built, for a very harsh climate and everything else. And what they ended up having to do is to build a smaller and far more scaled down, modest place up the road, which was still, like, for mere mortals like you and I, a grand design. But they ran out of cash. And so they had this monstrosity just down the road that had sent him broke. He'd had a divorce and all that. And we want to make sure you don't do this with your business. Yeah. That you don't go out on such a grand design, and it's not unstructured, it's not unplanned, that you've got a process in place as you build it that it can generate the income to be putting both food on your table, supporting the lifestyle that you're looking to have whilst you're building it, and fulfilling that long-term objective. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there's a lot of parallels there, particularly around the financials. So again, when we're talking in the determine and in turn the design phrase, what resources have you got? So financial resources, people resources, time resources, and having real clarity around that. And I'm reminded of the phrase, Jocko Willink, he's an American ex-Navy SEAL, does a load of podcasts. He's got a huge leadership academy. He always uses the phrase discipline equals freedom. And that phrase on its own, have those disciplines in place, know what your roadmap is, stick to it, and that will actually give you much more freedom to do the stuff you like doing once you've been disciplined with the basics.
This guy, Kevin Gammy, wrote a book, and he said, freedom is greatest when the ground rules are clear. I don't know. I think I stole that from Oprah or someone like that. But absolutely true. Absolutely true. And yeah, Jocko's book, Extreme Leadership, is truly awesome if you're looking to do that and get some discipline into your business, for sure. So design is really, once again, a very disciplined approach to making sure that you're putting the infrastructure in place that's going to allow you to literally explode off that launch pad. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that moves into the final phrase, the final D, the third D, if you like, is delivery. So you've done the determination, built the foundation, you've done the design. Delivery almost takes care of itself to a certain extent. Again, have the disciplines in place, you've got the KPI measures or whatever. But the diving into delivery without doing the preparation work beforehand, could lead to disaster.
It's like the old be, do, have, do, be. Yeah. So basically, you know what you want to have so that you can be who you need to be to achieve that. And then the doing will flow out of that. Yeah. For the be, do, have. That's, one model that I've looked at. But yeah, delivery, it's that constant improvement as well. When you know where you're going and you've got the infrastructure built, you can work out whether the actions that you're doing are taking you to that final destination or not. So you're not just busy spinning your wheels, you're busy producing to achieve that. And as you said, you can put the KPIs in place so that you can work out, hey, is the stuff that I'm doing right and getting me there, or is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm conscious as well that in theory, this all sounds easy and nice and arguably a little bit fluffy.
Oh, come on, anyone can do this.
Yeah, exactly. The beauty is, you can have the ideas, but to have the tools and the people around you that are going to, okay, so what do I actually need to do to determine? What do I actually need to do to design? Right, okay, here's some stuff. Millions of resources everywhere you go, but to work with someone that you can relate to, you can get on with, and give you the right tools that's going to get you to that destination, and act as the another fresh pair of eyes looking at what you're doing.
Absolutely. Now, in speaking to Neil, we did put this together really, really quickly, this show. The program that Neil's talking about hasn't been put together really, really quickly. It's been really considered and everything else, still being refined. But we have put together a checklist so that if you want to look at what's involved in these 3 phases, or what are the 12 steps, because there's 12 steps that are involved in this. So we put together a quick little checklist so that you can do it yourself if you wish. Nice and simple. Just download the 12-step re-evolution plan is what we've called it. I'll put the link for that here as soon as we hang up. But yeah, if you want to check out what the steps are that are involved, we haven't got it really well structured because we were refining the phases this morning, but all the steps are still there. It's really important to have the discipline to go through that. The other thing that we were discussing is that the program isn't for everyone.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, one simple way of looking at things is, where was your business pre-COVID? Was you happy with that? Okay, or do you want to take your business to another level? And if you was happy with your business pre-COVID, okay, then it's good, and crack on, and you'll find your own destiny. If you want to make a change, then what's that definition of insanity? The Einstein thing, isn't it? That you carry on doing the same things time after time and expect, different results. That's the definition of insanity. So if you want to make a change, if you want to transform or do something different with your business, have a look at it in a different way, put a different pair of lens on.
Absolutely. So first things first, if you want to find out what you really need to do, download a checklist. If you're then more interested in taking it a bit further, reach out, and Neil or Ray will be happy to give you a hand with some accountability and getting on with it. So they're looking at doing that in a group and really, really discounted rate. But most important thing is create the business you want to have.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Determine what is the business that you want to have, and then go about building that, because that's my goal, is that the members of Business Small Business can do business easily and effortlessly with each other, and in doing so can have wonderful lives, because at the end of the day, we're only here once. So according to the world that I know anyway. So and it's okay if you believe differently. I'm happy with that too. So Neil, thanks very much for your time. We'll put the link into the 12-step recovery plan checklist, or re-evolution checklist, and we'll catch up with you all soon.
Thank you.